¿A dónde está papi? 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 ¿A dónde está papi?
Welcome to the Thursday stream. I hope everyone's having an awesome Thursday. Welcome, everybody. Cosmic Seeking, Alyosher. How's it going, everybody? Speaker McCarthy went on national television to cuts everywhere that includes Social Security. Not surprising. We'll talk a little bit about that. We've got an article for that. Welcome back to Thursday Fun. Welcome, Cosmic Seeking. In 2023, almost 67 million Americans received Social Security among the elderly. 37% of men, 42% of women receive 50% or more of their income from Social Security. 12% of men and 15% of women rely on Social Security for 90% or more of their income. More Twitch news. We want to help streamers. We want to help streamers keep doing what they do so we can all keep loving what they do. Introducing the Partner Plus program. What the heck is a Partner Plus program? Is this from Twitch? Did Twitch make this up? In their desperate attempt to save face? No way. Really? Okay, so what is a partner? Okay, what is a Partner Plus then? As opposed to regular partnership? Because I have a feeling that it's just going to be like affiliate, right? Okay, let's check it out. All right, what you got, Twitch? Today we're in... Oh, today. All right. June 15th in the year of our Lord, 2023. We're announcing the Partner Plus program, a new program for streamers to build towards as they continue to grow their businesses. This new partner program will will offer 70% of subs. Wait. Oh, so they're bringing back the 70-30 split? For up to 12 months, up to 100K. To qualify, partners must maintain a sub count of at least 350 recurring paid subs for 3 consecutive months. Once that happens, partners will automatically enroll in the next 12 months, even if you dip below that threshold during the 12-month period. So, wait. I mean, so they're making a big deal of bringing back the 70-30 split. They're first of all, they took away the 70-30 split from people who were offered that. And then they're making it a big deal that they're offering it again if you meet a certain criteria. Okay. That's like stealing somebody's lunch and then coming back to them with like a couple of crackers or cookies and then like saying, "Yeah, dude, look how awesome of a deal you just got." Bipedal Meatbag, how's it going? That only count paid subs, not gifted subs or prime subs. Gotcha. So it's even whatever, Twitch. Okay. I mean, like, imagine stealing somebody's food and then coming back like a year, however long it's been, with like some snacks and being like, "Yeah, this will fix it." This makes no sense at all. Why not just make it a 70-30 split to begin with across the board? I mean, like, why not make it a 70-30 split across the board? And that's it. Twitch has a video conference today. One streamer thought I was trying to kill a stream even though I was it was on topic. Well, It is more than a little corporate speak. Yeah, it's definitely corporate speak, but like what is the benefit here other than like they're trying to save their bigger partners from like jumping ship? what what how does that where's the W? Where's the W for like normal like smaller streamers? You know, like if Twitch wanted to make an announcement saying that like, look, I know we've messed up. I know we haven't had the best uh we haven't had the best policies with creators in mind. So what we're going to do now is try to make this platform better. We're going to move towards a more discoverable algorithm, for one, or at least try to move in that direction. I know Twitch is not YouTube. I know Twitch isn't Facebook or whatever, but something. And then say, okay, we're gonna reorganize or revamp our ad program, and we're gonna try to move in the direction of 70-30 splits for all subs. That's it. It is obviously trying to save the membership for channels of 375 or more people watch. Yeah, the big streamers who are threatening, who can threaten to jump the ship, right? Who can threaten to be like, you know what? I've got a really large audience, so why don't I just direct that audience wherever I want? It could be YouTube, it could be Kick, it could be anywhere that has a streaming platform. It doesn't have to be Twitch. If I had 375 concurrent viewers, I can tell these viewers to go on YouTube. And YouTube is now upping up their game by opening up fan base support at 500 subs, not 1,000. 500 subs. We're almost halfway there. We're almost halfway there as it is. That's not a lot. 500 subs is not a lot. And then it opens up, memberships and what is it called? Not super chats or super thanks or whatever it's called. It opens up those features. Yeah, they're trying to stop people from going to like Facebook or YouTube or Kick, Twitch admitted that YouTube's a competitor. YouTube isn't a competitor, okay? YouTube will squash Twitch. YouTube will eat Twitch's dinner if it wanted to, at any given point. At any given point, if YouTube decided to play for real, it would just sit there and eat Twitch's lunch. There's no doubt about it. No doubt about it. Walter, how's it going? A kitty cat emote. Well, there's no kitty cats on set right now, for now. I'm sure one will come. But I'm not trying to derail stream. No, well, we're about to get started, so you're fine. Bob Commander coming in with a tier 1 sub for 7 months. Jeez, how we doing today? Hey, how's it going? Welcome. Thank you so much for the support. I appreciate it. I'm tired. Yesterday, most of this week, we've had construction going around the house, and it has created a bunch of dust that really messed with me yesterday. So I had to take Benadryl, and here we are. Hanging out at Yellowstone for the first time. Nice. I've never been to Yellowstone. Very nice. It is very pretty. I can only speak for the pictures that I've seen, but yes, that's pretty awesome. Trump did not pay at the Miami restaurant. No surprise there. I mean, yeah. What did he do that on purpose, or was he offered that? Okay, because that's two different things. Did he just peace out on a tab? No. Did he peace out on a tab? Touring news with a party of 36. Welcome everybody. Welcome, welcome. I wouldn't put him past him to dine and dash. I mean, it's not the first time he hasn't paid. But I was just curious. Welcome, welcome, welcome. That's true. They probably do love Trump in Miami, so they maybe they just gave it to him. Touring news. Hey, how's it going? Have a great one with some friends. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Folks, if you haven't already, please check out twitch.tv/touring news. They do fantastic work when it comes to economics and environmental stuff, farming, all kinds of stuff. Check them out. If you haven't seen me before, I am a difficult truth. I do the news. I do the politics Monday through Thursday, 5 p.m. Eastern Time. If you do enjoy the content and you enjoy your stay, make sure you hit the follow button. He doesn't pay his lawyer, so why would he pay a server? That's a good point. BCZ, welcome. Not a Trump person or a chud, but I think this indictment is foolishness. Why do you think that? Alio with a 12 biddies, and you earn a 5k bit badge. So I guess you earn a special badge when you reach 5ks. 5ks? Nice. Sickle Me Pink, welcome. The Democratic Party cannot beat Trump in an election, so they have to use the law to... Wait, but the Democratic Party didn't indict him. How does that make sense? So they have to use the law to beat him. And listen to the words you're just using. So, in other words... Correct, the law should apply to everyone. How, like, this doesn't make any sense. Also, true, they did beat him in 2020. Anyways, that's besides the point. How is this the fault of the Democratic Party? And how do you know that they can't beat him in an election? Like, there's no indication that Trump has a strong lead over Joe Biden in a general head-to-head matchup. As far as we know, as of right now, it is a coin toss. I know that's pretty sad, but it is a coin toss. So that it just doesn't make any sense. And why isn't Hillary Clinton on trial? She had an email server. Dude, you sound like a freaking Fox News regurgitation stuff. Like, just to be clear, by the way, Hillary Clinton was investigated. She was no exception. Hillary Clinton was investigated. Did you know that? And besides, um, the difference between, let's say, Pence having, you know, secret documents or whatever, the difference between Biden having secret documents, is that they gave them back as soon as they realized they had them. Okay? That's the difference. You're just literally regurgitating like Fox News talking points. You just like hit, you just hit the Fox News NPC dialogue tree. Yeah, we're speed running through whataboutisms that aren't even applicable. Yeah, that's also a good point. Let's let's entertain your little theory for a second. And this is all some kind of conspiracy by the Democratic Party. You do realize he's still running and can still run and can still be president. So why would the Democratic Party be spending so much effort if that was the case and not even doing anything? Because even if he was found for whatever reason, if this was a big conspiracy that the Democratic Party has decided to coalesce and I don't know, it just doesn't make any sense because the Democratic Party can't do indictments. That's not how this works. The way a person gets indicted is that they get investigated, right? And then the prosecutor, in this case, a special counsel, convenes. First of all, they have to have enough of a case to even like put this in front to even be able to convene a grand jury. And then they have to present all this evidence. They have to present their case to a grand jury, and then that grand jury has to then decide whether or not this goes through. But in any case, he can still and is going to still run because that's what he said. He's still going to run, and he could still potentially win, which is wild. But yes, he could still potentially win. So I don't understand how this kind of plays out. Sharpie Diesel, how's it going? Doesn't realize we don't care about the Democratic Party as much as they care about the GOP. True. I'm just trying to I'm just trying to run through the logic here. It doesn't make any sense. And like instead of addressing the actual like indictments, why do you feel the need to like pivot? As if like as if we found out tomorrow that Hillary Clinton did some like wild shit, which is completely like possible, okay? That she like got indicted for some like, you know, national security or whatever, like as if we would have to like as if we would be performing mental gymnastics to try to be like, no, 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 this is no, dude. If we found out tomorrow that Hillary Clinton is going to be indicted for some shit, oh well, too bad. If she did it, she did it. Cornel West has dropped the People's Party and is running for the Green Party. Yes, we'll talk about that. It seems like something a super serious candidate for president would definitely do. I want to know what movement building looks like. Not the People's Party, that's for sure. There's no logic, just cognitive dissonance. They're just bitter that the orange idol got caught with their hands in the cookie jar. Cornel West describes himself as a non-Marxist socialist, whatever that means, because he believes that you cannot be Marxist and be a Christian. How does that work? Exactly. I think maybe social democrat. He's not a social democrat though. Well, his policy prescriptions seem a little bit more than social democrat. Maybe West thinks that socialists worship Marx, but no, that's different. Like a socialist is different. While there's a lot of intersections between a socialist and a Marxist, um, I think they're different. Cornel West may be still informed by Cold War thinking. Don't know. Citation needed. All right, we got to get this started, folks. Since we're talking about the Cornel West thing, I guess we'll start there. All right, so just to tie everything together, kind of tie off the Twitch conversation. Yeah, Twitch is not. Twitch is literally taking away. Twitch literally took away like the 70-30 split for certain partners, and then decided to give it back for certain partners after you meet a certain threshold. And then is calling this like a big win or trying to make a big announcement out of this. No, Twitch can do better. Anyhow. Oh man, the circus probably ended early today. Look at that. I'm not reading that username. To get that 70-30 split, you have to get some top G metrics. You have to get a certain subscriber amount, I think. I think you have to have a certain subscriber amount. Surfer McGrady, how's it going? We have a live one? No. Absolutely not. They're not even going to get the chance. I'm not reading slurs on stream. Yeah, 350 subs is what you need. And the gifted or prime subs, or what is it? Not prime. Yeah, the prime subs. The gifted or prime subs don't even count. Oh boy. Too bad they didn't chat once. That would make reporting easier. Nah. They don't even get they don't even get that chance. So you need like what, 2,000 subs a month to get these numbers? Who knows? I don't know. It just seems like they're trying to make a big deal out of something that they had anyways, because the only people that would get 70-30 splits were really big streamers anyways. So they just like literally decided to sweep that under the rug and then give it back, like, and make a big announcement as if they did something good. That's what it feels like to me. That's what it feels like to me. Like, yeah, I know we used to have, this really good deal for bigger streamers or whatnot, but now we're taking that all away. Everybody gets 50-50 splits, and then, like, turn around and say, actually, we're bringing it back, and make a big announcement out of it. Nah, whatever. Hassan currently gets 80-20 right now. Depending on the type of stream, I guess. 1,000 subs? I don't know. The subs have to be auto each month. Oh, gotcha. So yes, Hassan can open his own little network if he wanted to. I mean, what is his like current viewer count? I think it's like 20 something, 20,000. That if Hassan told those 20,000 people tomorrow to go to YouTube, even if half of them followed Hassan over to YouTube, it'd be over. It'd be over. Unionize the Twitch streamers. Yes, unfortunately, unionizing Twitch streamers requires the large Twitch streamers to fall in line, and the large streamers don't want that. 30K viewers right now. Jesus. Like, even if 15,000 of them, I mean, shoot, even if 10,000 of them followed him to YouTube, that would be it. That's all you would need. Basically, many streamers are looking to find other homes. I mean, the way Twitch is going, yeah. Yes. The way Twitch is going, yes. So, on that note, hey, have you guys subscribed to the YouTube channel? That's a good meme. All right. The large left streamers not unionizing would hurt their image, yeah. They claim to care about small streamers, but we shall see. Doubt. Doubt. Remember, you cannot say be bad things about Twitch. Oh. I'm not saying bad things about Twitch. I'm saying I'm calling it as I'm seeing it. That's all. How dare they? True. All right. Oh yeah, is it only partners that can't say anything about Twitch? No, partners. Well, partners also can't like badmouth other partners too. I don't know. Whatever. Trust me, if I was partner, it wouldn't matter. I would still say the same things that I'm saying right now. Doesn't matter. All right, folks, let's get this started. People's Party and whatnot.
Cornel West was on the Katie Halper show and went on there to announce, well, I don't know if they're exclusively, but it does seem that she was, made aware of it, to announce in part that, and it's not clear to me whether they're talking about a united front. I frankly don't know if there's anybody other than a couple of people at the top of the People's Party's movement.
People's Party.
People's Party. It's not really a party. It's not even registered as one. And I think he must have found that out and has decided to run with the Green Party, which makes a lot more sense.
Yeah, like this is what I didn't understand. Like you could make your separate criticisms if you went like with the Green Party from the beginning. But the People's Party, really? I think somebody took him aside and like talked to him because I mean, it's wild. The dude announces that he's going to run for the People's Party, and then somebody probably took him aside and be like, "Yo, so about that." Let's start with like the more like obvious issues. Number one, the whole party is garbage. The organization is run by some very dubious people. There's a reason why Jimmy Dore. Yeah, that's a red flag. But like there's a reason why people like Bernie Sanders, who were offered, by the way, to run for the People's Party, didn't take that. It's not a serious party. It's not a real party. They have no candidates. They have no ballot access, I should say, save for like less than a handful of states. They promised to run candidates in the midterms. They ran 0 candidates. 0. Also, they run on volunteers, and yet where's all the money going to? They're not running any candidates. They never ran any candidates. Where's the movement to get ballot access to all 50 states? Yeah, like, okay. Sure. That's another red flag. Just goes to show he definitely has the necessary discernment and decision-making skills to be president. I mean, like, even if you were making this, even if you were making this as a protest movement, like as a protest candidacy, then why not initially challenge? Why not initially challenge them with the Green Party? The Green Party has much more fucking ballot access and much more infrastructure, and they're like an actual party. They did run candidates, and they do often run candidates for president. Or if you want to make it, if you want to go a different direction, why not run as a protest candidate in the Democratic Party nomination? I don't understand. If we had ranked choice voting system, other parties might make more sense, as it would make more sense, as it seems like a grift-based case, and worst case funded by the opposition. I don't think so. I don't think so. It's entirely like a simple explanation could just be that he's just going to take an L on this one. That's it.
At least from his perspective, here is Katie Halper with Dr. Cornel West.
I wanted to ask you, of course, about your presidential run. And
so pure ideology? No, he just messed up and thought like the people's stop. Jesus. No. He's trying to make a protest run at the presidency, but chose the People's Party. And it seems like, from what I'm gathering, okay, we're going off vibes, okay? So excuse me if we're gonna drift into the vibe territory. But what it seems like is that he didn't realize what the People's Party was, and thought that maybe he could make a movement or some kind of like message, a message campaign, and just ended up realizing where somebody took him aside and said, "Hey, listen, this is what's up with the People's Party," and then decided to run for the Greens, which is, I think that initially running for the Green Party would have made more sense. Okay, if you're running like a more message based or like a protest campaign, then you should have ran from the Green with the Green Party from the beginning. I mean, it just made more sense. He didn't fully do his homework. I don't know much about the People's Party. Well, to the extent that you can call it a party, yeah, there's just way too many red flags. Like I said, there's been allegations between against the people the person who funded it. There have been concerns about what is going on with the money that's been given to them. They have ran 0 candidates. I mean, it's not a serious party. It isn't a party to the extent that you can call it one. Hey, Globus the Elder, how's it going? Let us continue.
And there's some exciting news, I believe. So last week, Chris Hedges, friend of the show, Chris Hedges, said during an event for Worker Strike Back, which was organized by Kshama Sawant, he said that he wanted you to run as a Green Party candidate. And you, of course, when you announced you were with the Movement for the People's Party, the MPP. Do you have an update about this?
Oh, yes. No, that process is very much...
Hey, Heat, how's it going? I watched this earlier today. Is this... No, this is on the Majority Report. Okay. For some reason, I thought this was I like spaced out. I thought it was Rational National. The big thing that bothered me was some of the rhetoric that their management uses. Some of their tweets, are, yeah, well, indistinguishable from right-wing garbage, so... Yeah. Hey, how's it going, Heat? You don't know who Russell Brand was before he went on a show? Yeah, that's the thing. That's the thing. Another thing that I want, I want somebody to ask. I want somebody to ask, Dr. West. Hey, can this article? Like, we're just curious. Can we get some clarification on that DeSantis op-ed? Just curious.
In movement, and I look forward to it. You know, I'll always have gratitude for the tremendous work of the volunteers of the People's Party and so forth. But there was so much going on internally, and therefore we had to be able to keep the focus where it belongs. And so I am still deeply committed to a broad coalitional sensibility and a united front. And so I invite variety of different organizations, and that includes the People's Party. But I'm certainly moving in the not just toward, but want to look forward to being a part of the nomination process of the Green Party, and I look forward to being able.
Yeah, like also the Green Party has a nomination process, much like you know, the Democratic Party or the Republican Party does. I think Cornelius is doing a good thing running outside the Democratic/Republican partygram. I mean, like, if you're doing it for, like, a message campaign or a protest candidacy, yeah, that's probably the best way to do it, through the Green Party. Or another one, I think a better way of doing it would have been, is just simply, like, primary Biden from the left. I don't understand why that's such a why people would be so averse to that. Just primary Biden from the left. The Dems wouldn't take him. He's further left than Bernie. Then you know, they don't have, it would be pretty obvious if the Democratic Party wouldn't even allow him to run on the Dem ticket, right? He could still run. Just because he wouldn't win, doesn't mean he shouldn't run. The same goes for running in the Green Party. Do you think that Cornel West is going to win running for the Green Party if he wins the Green Party's nomination? If he wins the Green Party's nomination, is there like a bigger chance of him winning the presidency? Like, is that what the goal is? Really? I don't think so. I don't think so. He's not going to win regardless. The point should be to get the most attention to his message and policies. Thank you. Which is what it seems like to me. That's the whole point that he is running, right? I mean, that's what it seems like. So if you want to do that, then you might want to have a big platform. And the biggest platform would probably be to primary Biden from the left and make a huge stink about it. Regardless of what the DNC does. Is he still teaching? I think so. Regardless of what the DNC does, you just primary Biden from the left. Yes, like Bernie. The DNC is refusing to have debates. That's not stopping other candidates from running. Why does that even matter? Why does that even matter? Could you criticize the DNC for not having debates? Fine. But you should still run. You should still run to the left of Biden. The Green Party is barely more exposure than the yeah, he can also host his own. Man, I forgot. Who had a town hall recently. You can host town halls. You can get on different you can get on different platforms. It's Cornel West. It's Dr. West. I don't understand. Like, these excuses don't seem to fit for me. This is just my opinion. Right, you can schedule your own debates, stream it, whatever. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, he can host his own, but even he couldn't do it. Yep, that's right. Even Bernie couldn't do it. It's close. They would cheat Cornel West the way they cheated Bernie and only want Biden and her. It doesn't matter. That's not good enough. It doesn't matter. That's not the point. I cannot find the Populist People's Party in all 50 states. No, it's not. It's not. The People's Party has access to 3 states. 3 ballot states. The 3 states have ballot access, Salio. So, I don't even know why we would even be entertaining this idea. Cheat Cornel West of what? He's got no shot? It doesn't matter. Yeah, it doesn't matter if he has a no shot or not. He should still run to the left of Biden. Does that make more sense? He should still primary Biden. There should be a leftist candidate primarying Biden from the left. Or fine, if you want to run as a Green Party candidate, then do that. At least they have more ballot access than the People's Party. But I would submit that you should try to run, if you're making a message campaign or a protest run, you should try to make it on the biggest platform that you can. That's just my opinion. Is he thinking about running under more than one banner? I don't know. Williamson is running to the left of Biden. Marginally. But there's some weird red flags about her. She has some good stuff, but other very concerning stuff that she said in the past. Run as a Dem, get Williamson on board, make noise repeatedly about how the Democrats won't primary. Yeah, whatever. If you're gonna make us think about it, then that's how you should do it. Exactly. Then that's how you should do it. If of course your point of running is to make a stink about the DNC or stink about the duopoly, then why not use it? Why not leverage it? Why not leverage it? by getting on that big platform. I mean, that's just my opinion. Anyways,
To already be in very rich conversation with my dear brother Barack and my dear sister Stein, sister Jill, and brother Ajambo, who I have.
I mean, write-in, but we'll get that. No, write-in. I wouldn't even run as a write-in. Why? You get you get equally amount as of exposure. Remember the point. Remember the point is the point is to make us think about something, right? It's a message. It's a message campaign, right? Because we know that like it's a very reasonable assumption to say that Cornel West has very, 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 very low shot of winning the presidency, right? Like that's kind of like understood, right? So why not do that? Why not just make the biggest stink you can now while you have on the biggest platform? Maybe if you put up enough of a good fight and stink, maybe you can even have more access should a scenario plays out where the Democratic candidate wins the presidency. I'm just saying, maybe. If you understand the structure primary is that, in the general, spoiler effect is a thing. Yes, depending on the candidate, yes, the spoiler effect is a thing. In this, in 2020, we saw it too. The Libertarian Party took a significant chunk that would have potentially turned things a different direction because the race was so close. In this case, the Libertarian spoiler ended up working towards everybody's favor, and Trump lost. It's not a winning strategy. It's not about winning. It's not about winning. It's about the message. It's about the protest candidacy. Anywho, let's continue. Nobody should be running a primary campaign against Biden or as a leftist third-party candidate unless they want to hurt Dems in the general. The party won't listen to the idea of someone who doesn't respect the incumbency. But I don't think. But you think it will hurt them? I don't think so. I don't think it'll hurt them. I don't think it'll hurt them. Third, fourth, or fifth party votes lead to Trump winning? Not necessarily. That's not necessarily. Depending on how close the election is, I don't know. The tragedy of the America's two-party system, sooner or later, the Republicans will come into power again, and no way to prevent that. Can as well as play. Can we as well? Wait. Can we play the long game? I mean, this is all about the long game. Yes. Just because you're an incumbent means you should stop doing your job. Yep. So they would have to attack Biden, which will pull away votes in the general. Will it though? I mean, like, with regards to the primary, will it? Do you think so? Because, like, wouldn't the argument mean that, let's say, we go through this, let's say we go through this process and Biden wins the nomination, which is pretty much, I don't want to say guaranteed, but pretty much is. You can reasonably say that Biden's going to win the nomination, all right? Like it's pretty understood. I don't think that will hurt Biden necessarily in the general, versus the Republican nomination. I think it's different. It's certainly a sign of desperation from of the times as third parties in the U.S. are often are. I don't think West, for example, does anything like this with the intent to harm people, but he's more likely just thinks that certain people's voices are not going to be heard during the campaigns, and there's a possibility of driving some policy or idea, which I think is exactly the point, right? Hold on, we do have a cat on studio. Look at this cat. Look at this cat. Look at this cat. Oh, yes. Squish that cat. Come on, let go of my mic. There we go. Hello, kitty baby. Yes, it's the cat's mic. Go on, kitty. There she goes. The cat's mic revolution. Bakita, indeed. Yeah, the cat is taking over. Ow! Hey, come on. Now she's really trying to take over. Jeez. Okay. Well, they were wrong. The revolution will be televised via Twitch as the cats take over. We're still 9 months away from the first primary, yep. True, Buff Commander. Okay. We have an election this year? We do?
Great love and respect for. So that's true. That is new. And which means when it comes to infrastructure and institution, it's much broader and deeper. Access to the ballot, much broader. But in the end, as you know,
every year.
Candidacy to run the empire in order to dismantle the empire has to be part of a movement.
Strapless bras never fit small.
Why am I getting bra commercials?
I think like...
I promise you, I do not wear bras, chat. It warms my heart to see my kids note on your set. Of course. Of course, I appreciate it very much. It will now be a forever addition to the set. That's right, you're right. Goku, city initiatives and county elections. No shame here, no shame, I'm just saying.
Without, assessing or, litigating the question of whether this is a time for him to run as a third-party candidate, it makes a lot more sense to run with a party that has at least some semblance of an infrastructure, that has at least a track record and theoretically a capability of getting. I mean, he says,
Getting on the ballot.
broader access to the ballot. As far as I can tell, the People's Party had no access to the ballot.
Or I think maybe some people have said they've got some, but it's not significant like the Green Party.
But and we should say there is a logic to this, to what he is doing. Now, I may disagree with a third party run, depending on what the two party situation looks like going into the election. But
Yeah, that's also a good point. You also have to consider what the stakes are here, and what the ramifications are of your candidacy is going to be, right? I mean, imagine a scenario, oh God, where this guy, Trump, decides to continue to run and wins the primary and then wins the general election. I mean, I don't know, but it's a pretty scary thought of having a Republican Congress. It's not that inconceivable that the Senate could flip and a Republican president. That's a very scary thought. That is a very scary thought. Ross Perot ran an independent campaign in '92. Oh yeah, the Ross Perot campaign. That's why I do support a primary versus third party, all the positives, but none of the negatives. Yeah. And you get access to a bigger platform. And maybe, not that it's guaranteed, but maybe if you put up enough of a stink, maybe you can get concessions. I mean, not that you should trust the Democratic Party, but you'd be in a better position, I would say. Even in countries that have dozens of parties, it usually comes down to 2, sometimes 3 parties in power. Yep. Vote your heart in the primary. Yeah, that's what they're there for. Yes.
There's time to sort of litigate that.
And also, Cornel West was said vote for Biden in 2020 to stop the fascists. So he's pretty clear about that, at least back then.
Yeah. Oh, he was also the same way in I think even in 2016.
I think so too.
And even 2012.
Yeah, and the whole this whole movement, this whole conservative far right movement that is gaining steam. I mean, where are we in terms of how much power we actually have? It's not a lot. So you play with the cards that are dealt. You play with the hands that you've been dealt. Trust has nothing to do with it. It's leverage, right? Exactly. It's leverage. Even if you don't, this is not about the Democratic Party, but if you have a good primary, you may have some concessions. Maybe. What's the diploma? Oh, this diploma? Oh, this is a meme diploma here. I'll hey. Okay. Having the this is a diploma that I got in the year of our Lord, June 11th in 2049, by the way. Apparently that's the date I earned this diploma. It's an from the Advanced International School of Bullshit Detection. Having completed the assessment of the knowledge acquired in this course of the supervised mentoring period, we proceed through the issuance of this certificate diploma of studies. Yeah, it's from the Advanced International School of Bullshit Detection. Yeah. That's what that's from. Hello, cat. Come on, if you want to stay here, you can do the news with me. Come on. I can't have you walk all over the keyboard. Okay. Who's a good cat? Are you gonna let me do the news now? Even though you bit me earlier? Kitty vibes, yep. She's not letting me get to my mouse. Alright. Here, I'll show you guys what's going on. See how she keeps rubbing her head on me? Yep. She's not letting me get to my mouse. Okay. I just sneaked away. We got there.
Despite his issues with Barack Obama, I'm not sure what has changed in that instance, and I think there'll be an opportunity to hear that from him. But people should just take a moment and think about the logic associated with what he's doing here. Now, he's not saying he's doing this because the People's Party is a scam or this and that. It may be, but that's not what his justification here is. The point is that he understands that there is intrinsic, essential value to the creation of institutions and the idea of like this gives me
Sorry, she keeps like bumping the keyboard.
access to the ballot. So you have people who say, like, why would Bernie Sanders run as a Democrat? Or why would any of these people run as a Democrat? The reason why you run as a Democrat is the same reason why Cornel West decided after a week on the People's Party ticket why you run with the Green Party. And that is because there is value regardless of maybe there's an ideological difference, and I think there is a big ideological difference between the People's Party and the Green Party, as far as I can tell.
And maybe they don't have a pristine history of fair primary sort of procedures.
With the Green Party?
With the Green Party.
I mean, they were just saying Jimmy Dore for president and super chat to vote him as the
That's the People's Party.
Oh, sorry, I thought that. Yeah.
But the Green Party. But the point being,
right,
that if you're going to run for office, it is essential that you have at least some semblance of institutional support and some semblance of a movement and some semblance of ballot access. And so that logic exists outside of whatever the names of the parties are. And so, people should just keep that in mind. It is a perfect example that that Dr. West is giving as to like the practical necessities that are involved in running and why he realized he could not be taken seriously or have achieved anything.
Yes,
frankly, as a running on essentially like an email list.
Right.
And just in case you had any wonder as to like what the point of the People's Party is, it is not to promote the ideology of someone like Dr. Cornel West or anyone else. It is to promote themselves. And I give you Exhibit A. This is
their reaction.
This is their reaction.
I was going to bring this up. I'm glad we have this.
Yeah, thank you, David Griscom, for putting this together and tracking this. But
yeah, this is not a serious. This should not. The People's Party should not be taken seriously. What are the cat's views on this issue? I don't know, but she bit me earlier, so I guess that kind of tells us, right? Americans cannot remember more than two parties. Well, we have a system that only allows us two choices. Effectively. Not that there aren't other parties, but essentially, that's kind of where we're at.
They say, breaking, Cornel West has announced a switch to the Green Party, folding to social media and family pressure.
Wait, folding to social media and family pressure because somebody told him and somebody advised him what the People's Party was. And then he was like, yeah, maybe this is not a good idea. And now they're big mad over it instead of using this as an opportunity. Stop it, Kat. Instead of using this as an opportunity. Instead of using this as an opportunity to say, you know what? Dr. West is right. So what we're going to do is we're going to support Dr. West, and we're going to support and continue our efforts to open up ballot access across all, like whatever. You could literally spin this in a positive way for the People's Party if they were actually interested in being a real party or real movement. But they're not.
Oh, God forbid he listens to his family.
I can't help but I mean this seriously.
Yeah, like imagine listening to, which Emma just pointed out, listening to people who care about you. True.
I watched the Nixium documentary, and a lot of this sort of stuff, it's very culty. And it's like, don't make decisions out of fear. And it's like fear that your family is instilling.
Right.
That is very strange.
Oh, it's very strange to talk about family pressure.
Yes.
Exactly.
Who are they to say anything about Cornel West?
Cornel West's your wife?
Right, exactly.
What the heck?
And that's just such a great connection to make, because what cults try to get you to do is disassociate from anything that ties you to
defooing, I think they call it,
to people or institutions outside of the cult that might make you think a little bit more groundedly. And so it's crazy to lead off with that, but
it's also fascinating. They go on to say the excitement over the phenomenal. Now, when you to the extent that there was excitement,
they're overcompensating
about Dr. Cornel West running.
Okay,
ask yourself. Was it, this is exciting because it's the People's Party?
Like, sorry, the cat just started chewing on my cables, so I had to get her out of my seat. Like, how could he not have known if he had a 6-year relationship with them? I mean, they could be lying. Maybe, or maybe he just didn't see it. I don't know. It seems more like he just didn't know, more than anything. I mean, the dude's a very busy person. Not that, like, it isn't an L against him, but not that he shouldn't have known, because I think it was not that hard to find this information. I don't know. I watched Olarandi's video with FD signifier as well. You can say there's no way that I'm voting for Cornel West. I don't care what party he's running on. Yeah, I think like one of the main questions that I would have, and again, I understand that he's done a lot, but one of the main questions I would really ask is that whole being part of like this whole weird board of directors thing, the DeSantis op-ed, I think that would raise some red flags.
or is it exciting because it's Dr. Cornel West? And
Also, this is-
according to the People's
yeah.
Party, it was, of course, the People's Party. The excitement over the phenomenal launch.
The most perfect phone call.
When you have to
That's exactly what that sounds like.
people really overegg it with their adjectives and adverbs.
I mean, did Glenn Greenwald write this?
The phenomenal launch executed by the People's Party on our invitation to carry him as a candidate.
The DeSantis op-ed here. See if I can find it. Oh, hold on. His whole Marxism is incompatible with Christianity's cringe. True. I met him a few months ago. He came to my place of employment. I got to ask him a question about libraries and how he got more underrepresented voices in the library, and his answer was along the lines, we have to represent both sides. What? A few months ago? A few months ago is kind of like not the position to be answering in that fashion. Oh boy. I find it controversial. I didn't find that controversial. I understand there's a whole backdrop to parts of it, but what he said is correct. In the literal sense of reading classic texts is valuable and can give people context to the world without contemporary ideological baggage. I mean, yeah, but what does this look like? What does this look like? You know what I'm saying? Governor DeSantis just gave a welcome boost to the classical education movement. He signed legislation allowing high school students to qualify for Bright Future Scholarship for a state fund for college education by submitting scores from the classic learning test instead of the SAT alone. This move will likely be portrayed wrongly as partisan and conservative, but the greatest works of civilization have always been about spring. I mean, like, okay. Not preventing radical change, it teaches about the revolutionary ideas of the past and help us better understand the present. The richest ideas of what it means to be human are those that have stood the test of time. That's kind of fallacious, though. That's kind of fallacious. That's basically under the presumption that just because it is, then it's right. Just because it always has been this way, therefore that's just the way it should be. If your moral judgments can only run along political boundaries and purity test, you have a moral foundation, call a spade, and the test is good. DeSantis immigration policies are evil. True. Who is Jeremy Wayne Tate? This has two authors. Oh, this is the both sides. This is who we're talking about. Which coincidentally, both West and him are, I think, board members, who are pushing for this because I think it benefits them. In the video, I mentioned they talk about classical learning tests, which is the preceded the SATs and was more racist than the SATs are. So that's kind of what they're talking about to bring back. And supporting this classical learning test, could it be possible that no, I think that he has like financial ties to it. I think that it's financial, is what I'm alleging. The practice demo test is available. Don't need to speculate. He is old. He might have a nostalgia thing. People do seem stupider nowadays than they were in the past. Yeah, like I would say that this is just mostly financial and religious. Sometimes I think he just sticks to his names on things because he likes a person and he seems to be that type. He seems to be the type to like slash everybody. Yeah, but I would also think that like maybe you can like a person, but also you also don't have to elevate your you don't also have to elevate their more pernicious views. It just seems like this is more of a financial kind of deal. Because they want this, because they're the president of this. Many of the seminal works of literature, history, and philosophy and science and theology were revolutionary in their respective ages. Turn the pages of Galileo's Galilei's to new science, and you'll experience the alteration of humanity's view of itself in relation to the heavens by disproving the then common belief that planets revolved around the Earth rather than the sun. Galileo laid the foundation for modern science. Isaac Newton swept aside what remained of the old world scientific superstitions, only to find himself upstaged 2 centuries later by Albert Einstein's theory of relativity. Like revolutionary ideas today, the ideas of yesterday were provocative and in many cases much more consequential. Galileo was put on trial because he upset the status quo. In the 13th century, Bishop Stephen Tempier of Paris condemned the key works of theologian Thomas Aquinas for being too radical. Soviet dissident Solzhenitsyn and civil rights activist Martin Luther King were imprisoned for their views. Imagine how they could go after an atheist. They would act like he's Ted Bundy. True. Even the most mild-mannered of philosophers stirred trouble for thinking out against the grain. Plato watched his great teacher Socrates put to death for his teachings. Revolutionary figures of the past give us insight to the present and allow for reflection and consequences of their choices. Julius Caesar, one of the antiquity's most recognizable leaders, teaches the cost of revolution through his histories. Wait, cost of revolution? Didn't he just like stage a coup and just took over? He ended the Republic, and created the Roman Empire, a crime for which he paid for with his life. But in his first-hand description of the often brutal tactics he employed to achieve political transformation, he left behind deep insight. Deep insight. What? Caesar's direct and simple prose conveys the realities of going to war, all without reference to contemporary conflicts. Hello, person who has been banned in other places. What is a difficult truth? We do news, we do politics. Mr. West does hold the chair at the Union Theological Seminar and serves on the board of academic advisors on the CLT test. Mr. Tate is the founder and CEO of the CLT. Like, yeah, dude, this is just. I think this is purely based on. I think that this is purely just based on. This benefits him. That's one of the virtues of the classics. They are a means of considering what is true without invoking the blind partisanship that encourages dauntless action. There's something we need more than the cultivation of reason and understanding. I mean, but that's such a weird way of phrasing it. So we can't. So the classics are the way to cultivate reason and understanding? That's kind of weird. Is capable of making mistakes, but he's a religious man. He has been. It's not controversial for him to be so, nor should it, in my opinion, be alienating to progressives. It's not. I don't think the problem is the religious aspect, mostly. The central takeaway from the op-ed was, for me, was that reassuring that progress is a collective enterprise. It doesn't work if we build walls. There's value in reading classic works of Plato and Aristotle. Yeah, I mean, like, but I think that you could make that same statement different than this, because this just feels like, I don't know, some weird like Western civilization dog whistle. Also, the dude's a chair on this, so of course he has like some conflict of interest, financial interest, I guess, is one way of putting it. So yeah. I think if kids are going to be reading the classics, then we actually do need CRT in K through 12 for them to understand the context, right? Like, I don't think it's it's innocuous to say that like we can derive. Stop it. Some value from like, you know, literature from the past. But I can also say that we should always make sure that these have the proper context. I think at some point, if you start drawing lines across what should and shouldn't be considered legitimate text to understand the world, you're effectively targeting history. And as an entire academic field, it shouldn't matter what literature a child reads. It should matter how they understand it and what they can evolve those ideas. Yeah, I don't think that's controversial. I don't think that's a controversial statement. But it doesn't seem... It just doesn't seem like that was the message being conveyed there.
Carry him. Yeah, we carried him. Will likely dissipate as a result of the flip-flop.
The most sacred flip-flop.
The 6-year relationship PP had with West led to the invitation to run as our candidate. Like, this is really just...
These are nutcases.
These are nutcases. West had to consider the other political influences of his family. What? After he agreed to run with PP, resulting in a change of mind.
First off, family members.
First off, hire somebody who can write a tweet. How about that to start with? What the hell does that mean? West had to listen to this sentence. West had to consider the other political influences of his family after he agreed to run with PP.
Wait, so West made a decision based on the people very close to him and decided that, maybe you guys aren't good. I agree, but at least my recollection of growing up reading all those is that the analysis discussion in class was super poor. I suspect that's for a reason. Just my 2 cents.
Resulting in a change of mind. Like, honestly, like...
He mentioned his family twice.
Yeah, like, okay, so after consulting my closest, like, circle, and they advising me that, this is sketch, and vibes were off, as the kids say, the People's Party did not pass the vibe check, the vibe test, and the People's Party was sus. After all this, I considered that, maybe I shouldn't run the People's Party. We can barely read in this country reintegration of classical philosophical thought is definitely on the table. He probably watched Chalet's video too. I mean, who knows?
They've got
certainly enough. Enough of a stink was made to bring this to his attention. So that may well be the case. That may well be the case that somebody, or maybe he himself, saw the video or saw somebody else or talked to somebody else. But yeah. BPM. Oh, yeah, okay. Yeah, somebody mentioned that. Was that you? Somebody mentioned that he had an interview with Black Power Media as well.
Got like a real axe to grind with his wife or something like that. Yeah.
But what
doesn't he cut off the rest of his family for the People's Party?
Also, I mean, is it just me? But that sentence is, I mean, I sort of get the idea behind it, but who's writing this?
Laura Morris?
Or maybe she's just
posted by Laura Moore. Or yeah, exactly.
And so there it is. There's the
there's one more too. We should also read.
Yeah,
but here's the tweet exchange here.
Gotcha. That was you? Okay. Yeah. But I haven't seen it all day when they were talking about all the questions they were planning to ask him. Gotcha. Looks like they talked to him for about an hour. Gotcha. I need to view this at a...
into any number.
How to open your car door when you're trapped underwater. A lethal design flaw in all recent cars.
Number of different things we see, but we definitely appreciate
this is scheduled.
You put on a nice
representative.
Do away with the wants to dumb that down to just titillation stimulation rather than wrestling with insecurities, fears, and anxieties, knowing you're going to die and how you're going to be a person of character and courage. And so,
piece of a couple weeks ago that you had written with Jeremy Tate about education and the classics, the European classics. And I'm wondering, so I'll phrase it this way to try to blend the topics here. When you talk about unifying for a better world under this campaign that you've started for the nomination of the Green Party, how can we unify and better the world while still valorizing the West in the way that you and Jeremy Tate were arguing, including for saying that James Madison is to be considered as having a revolutionary potential, the slave owning. So in other words, West should mean Cornell, not Western is the way so I'm wondering, could you say a word about that? And then maybe we can use that to segue into the purpose for your campaign.
No, I think we got our other dear brother here too. That's cool. No, I mean, one of the things that I'm always concerned about is I was talking to Bootsy Collins about this the other day. You know, we wrote a song together called Freedom. Freedum, that in a market-driven society, come out of vacation, tries to dumb everything down. Why? Because it's all about money. It's all about just getting over. So that when I think of classics, though, for me, it's not really focused solely on Europe, though. Not at all. Even the exam that we talked about. You see, you got James Baldwin, you got Toni Morrison, you got Du Bois, you got C.L.R. James. We're talking about the great wrestling for what it means to be human. And you can either go to Athens, you can go to Timbuktu. So you can go to China, or you can go to indigenous people. Every culture has profound conceptions of what it means to be human.
Yes. That's true. But that's not the impression I got in the article. Does that make sense?
Human, and our contemporary market culture wants to dumb that down to just titillation stimulation rather than wrestling with insecurities, fears, and anxieties, knowing you're going to die and how you're going to be a person of character and courage. And same is true in the music. You see, we talk about the classic. Well, of course you're talking about Miles and Coltrane and Sarah Vaughan. And, no, but if they just want to hear what the young folk hearing now, for the most part, I got a strong critique. So,
right on. But you didn't talk about Sarah Vaughan in that piece.
Right.
You were talking about,
because we don't have music. It's mainly just text. But
well, that's what
Toni
I'm
Morrison
saying.
But
Toni Morrison
that's
is there.
yeah.
And James Baldwin is there.
We read the article. It's not a very long article. Does that make sense? Like, I'm not disagreeing with this point. It's just not it's just not the impression that I got from reading the article. I hope that makes sense.
The voice is there. C.L.R. James.
I didn't. Not.
We can read the article. It's in front of us. Anyways, yeah. I'll post the link again if you guys want to see it. But yeah. Yeah. Yikes.
They quote to wait, you can't hear you.
Oh, I'm sorry. This is the quote exchange before that they're talking. These two supporters are saying the Green Party is attacking the People's Party, and then this guy talks about Nick Brana, the lead of the People's Party.
This is in a thread about the Vanguard podcast saying, encouraging West to make the switch to the Green Party, and then the
Are they related to West? Are they part of his family?
Yeah.
You're right. Yeah, adoptive kids.
And so that the People's Party says.
Okay, wait. We didn't see that first one. Really read that first one. Okay.
So the one guy, let's just remove that one, Bradley. Just scroll on to Keith here. So the one guy says, just like without Nick Brana, the biggest anti-war protest in years wouldn't have happened. Which, if we'll have to remind people, it was I
like
can't remember the name
dozens
of
of
it.
people in
Rally Against the
DC.
War Machine, where they talked about trans people the entire time.
Yeah, and it was just a bunch of Russia flags.
And now, if it weren't for Brana showing the initiative to get Cornel West to run, he likely wouldn't even be running for president. Why is the guy I'm told to hate do the most? And then the People's Party quoted that with the man the system doesn't want to see succeed this bad is the man that needs to succeed. They don't attribute that
Jesus.
quote, but maybe it's Nick Brana himself said that about himself.
Yeah.
And they're just talking about himself.
Not a serious organization, folks. Not a serious organization.
They're talking about
Yes.
Nick Brana now. They're not even talking about West. They're using it to talk about Nick.
Well,
Nick Brana was just too powerful for
think
Cornell West.
I mean, yeah.
Nobody knows who
Look,
Nick Brana is. Cornell West was a linguist and a professor way long before anyone even thought about Jimmy Dore or any of this damn crap.
Nick Brana, I think, inflates his credentials on the Bernie campaign as well. But yeah, Nick. I'm glad that Cornel West knows Nick Brana enough to thank specifically the People's Party volunteers and not the People's Party leadership.
Right. And it's good to see that. I mean, I frankly, I mean, it makes me have, I may have some issue. And like I say, it's not inconceivable to me that in the context of like depending on what the election looks like going into the election, we're 18 months off. I don't know.
That's awesome.
That in a state like New York, in a slam dunk state, to have the opportunity to, say that as a sheer policy matter, I don't know if it was necessarily going to be Cornel West and the Green Party, but to have the opportunity to safely, without threatening the outcome of the election, to have the opportunity to,
be good for down ballot.
Good for down ballot. It'll be good also, just the opportunity as to say like, okay, I get to allow myself, a freebie. That's not a bad thing in my estimation. I think I've been clear many times before. In 2000, I voted for Nader in New York State. I thought it was a freebie. I think I may have even gone on to somebody had set up a vote swap for Florida. Nader had said going into the election that he would not contest in states that were close because they wanted to build the Green Party ostensibly and didn't want to threaten the election. The rest is history in Florida. He ran there. Other places, there's a lot of other reasons why Florida ended up going to Bush. But nevertheless, I felt a certain amount of personal betrayal. I felt a certain amount of betrayal, both for two things. One, that Nader at the time had said he wasn't going to contest there. And two, the implication was that we're going to build the Green Party. And I will tell you this, and this is a completely objective analysis. The Green Party was much stronger 20 years ago than it is today. And by that, I measure it in terms of like local elections. And I don't know if they ever had a congressperson. I don't think so. But they had like a couple of mayors at one point. There was some state representatives. I imagine there's still some, but the party itself never fulfilled the promise. Like, we know what the cost was, or at least, what could have been the cost. People can debate about whether those people would have voted for Nader or for Gore there. Gore lost by hundreds of votes. So I don't know. But the benefit never showed up.
I'm more like I voted for Hillary Clinton in New York. I was in New Jersey at the time. I voted for Biden in New York too. And I chose to do that just because that was the person I thought who was realistic to win.
Well, not only that, I think the strongest argument at that point, and it may well be another argument for this election, is that making these elections very, very close is dangerous. Making these elections very, very close is dangerous, Some relevant NoFX lyrics. The president's laughing because we voted for Nader. Yep.
Also, in just principle, for my own principles, that is what comported with what I wanted to do there. But
even if you're in a safe state like New York, right? The argument for voting for the Democratic candidate at the time, especially with Donald Trump, was because this dude was threatening to challenge the elections and call them rigged if he lost. And we knew this. We knew this for months in advance, and he's doing it again. And he's doing it again. When would be an appropriate time for progressive people to vote for something other than the Democrats, though? I mean, like, you could still... When would be an appropriate time for progressive people to vote for something other than the Democrats, though? When we have a more amicable infrastructure that allows something other than the Democratic Party. Until then, the only thing that we can do is build through ballot initiatives, and in the short term, keep Republicans out of power. I mean, like, that's it. That's the strategy. Keep Republicans out of power. And yes, ranked choice voting, but you get that through ballot initiatives. That's never going to happen, so just support the third parties now. But if you do, and you end up with a, I don't know, Republican president, that's a problem. That isn't going to happen because people keep voting Democrats. No, that's separate. That's separate. You can make ballot initiatives for ranked choice voting. It has happened. Doesn't matter if the Dems are involved in that or not. Ballot initiatives are completely separate. It's a thought. Yeah, Sega's turn enjoyer. Do you have, like, anything to add to this conversation, or are you just gonna be a clown here? So, like, what I'm saying is, James, it's not entirely out of the possibility. You're so lost in the sauce, dude. I can't. So lost. Why is Alaska banned? What is wrong with Alaska? Besides, like, a lot of things, but why is Alaska banned? Anyways, you're so lost in the sauce, dude. I mean, it's not my fault you can't make it's not my fault you can't make an argument. Beta. This is why I'm a little confused by this MR segment, because we can acknowledge that we're in an impossible situation where it's a two-horse race and one horse is the worst thing, so therefore we must be opposite. But also, then why have a go at people who still believes in something else? People would love a third party in the U.S., but they're super keen to shout them down when they exist. It's just a strange scenario. It's not that we don't want third. Stop it. Oh God. It's not that we don't want third parties. It's just that acknowledging the reality while also wanting a more democratic system. I think these two things can coexist in your head, right? Does that make sense? You can simultaneously understand that we live in a two-party system and we have to do what we have to do. And also be like, maybe we should start building the groundwork for something better. There's always going to be a boogeyman, so people need to stop voting on vibes. Yeah, like, every single election is, regardless of where, of what system you have, every election, every choice is a lesser of two evils. But if that's the case, then why are these people mocking people like West, who are trying to build from the ground something better, at least in their eyes? I think they're mocking the decision and mocking the more importantly, they're mocking the People's Party, if anything, because at the beginning, at the beginning of the segment, or somewhere towards the more closer to the beginning of the segment, Sam said that it makes more sense. It makes more sense for West to run in the Democratic Party. And like, after that, they just kind of started ragging on the People's Party, which is completely. You should absolutely be mocking the People's Party. It's not a real party. Hey, if you're DMing people, you just fuck off. Where is this guy? Where did he go? All right, can one of the moderators ban that person? Because like that's crossing a fucking line. Don't DM random people. Hey, Elf Bar person. Yeah, the boot. I think that deserves the boot. If there's please go outside. I promise you, the air is not recycled through your PC. The air recycled through your PC fan is better for you. True. Like, if I was to paint an ideological picture of all the people being discussed just now, Cornel West would definitely sit closer to the majority report than, say, Democrats, and more so the Democrat and the Republican. Or, likewise, the People Party itself, generally speaking, I guess that's what I'm trying to say. So why the friendly fire? It's not friendly fire, though, because the People Party isn't our friend. That's the issue. I think the subject mostly isn't even, so far, West. So I'm just saying. I wouldn't trust the People's Party, and I think the majority of this video has been about the People's Party. Yeah, you can just block them. I'm gonna give them the boot. This is real easy for me. Boom. It could be called the best party of unity and peace and still be a right-wing group. Yep. So I hope that explains this topic, well, this conversation a little bit better. It's not that they're like necessarily shitting on the idea of West running. In fact, Sam earlier said that it makes more sense for West to run with the Green for the Green Party. But yeah, absolutely should be shitting on the People's Party.
But part of the problem is that I've always had an issue with the Green Party not being as local in my adult life. Like, I'm much more encouraged by what the DSA is doing on a local level, not buoyed by figureheads in national campaigns, and more focused on building up institutional power in places where it can build.
Yeah, and like Emma's basically kind of piggybacking off that idea right here. With the DSA.
As opposed to this kind of flash in the pan stuff focused on the presidency, I think that can like push people more towards like the one personality, Jill Stein, Cornel West even at the top, as opposed to building lasting change. But I also understand the reason that we should have third-party candidates out there. It's just it's a balance you have to strike.
Right.
Yourself, especially if you're in a swing state.
Ryan and Callie says Gore didn't lose in Florida. No, I agree with that. But
yeah.
He was not awarded the electoral votes there. Let's put it that way.
Yeah.
And I will say in 2000, I voted for Biden in New York, because I also felt that particularly there was a lot of reason in the run up to the election to think that just the popular vote in and of itself, even though it wasn't going to implicate the electoral college, would be important in the event
It's
that
not building community power, aiding material needs of people.
I didn't
right,
anticipate January 6th or but
I think that's kind of what Emma's getting at, to be quite frank. Humans are good at seeing what they want to see in people. That's true. That's a lot of people voted for Biden and Harris historically before. Yeah, and like we constantly criticize them for that. Just because like we have to do what we have to do in the context of the choices that we're given and the circumstances that we're given. I don't think it's out of pocket to say like, yeah, we're going to vote because this is the choices that we're given. Nobody holds them accountable, though. They'll get votes next year. Yeah, they might. They will. They will. And my argument is, well, what's the alternative? It's not an ideal situation. Yes, exactly, Princess Chichi. It literally is like a hostage situation. What do we do? What other choices do we have? Other than accept the fact that like electoralism is just a tool. Accept that fact. Accept the fact that like Biden and the Democrats don't always have the best interests of the people at hand. Understand that they don't give a shit about the working class, but also, I don't know. Stopping the trains of fascism seems to be like a pretty decent goal to have in the immediate, given the circumstances of the situation. So I put it to you this way, and I've said this before. I am more scared of a Republican anything. I'm more scared of a Republican president, Congress, and Senate than I am angry at the Democratic Party. I hope that helps explain it. Also, simultaneously, as A1 just pointed out, electoralism is but a tool. Electoralism is but a tool. That's it. Institutionalism can only get us so far anyways, but voting against hate and violence is a low effort stopgap. If it's there, then we should probably use it, right? I see what you did there, 1312. I see what you did there. Clever. Yeah, it's a good way of saying it. Yeah, exactly. I'm more scared of Republican victories, in terms of like, you know, them winning power in office, than I am angrier at the Democratic Party. And I will make the choices accordingly. That's funny.
There was definitely reason to believe that anything that could provide ballast to a Biden win over Trump would have value. And so, again, this is the...
Not all bastards are cops, but all cops are bastards.
You know, there's plenty of time to sort of like
overstate the importance of those decisions.
Well, to overstate the importance or understate them. I mean, frankly, you know, like we can.
It's hard to know. Like
18 months out from the general election, and now you know Cornel West is in the general election.
Yeah,
in a meaningful way.
Right. I think like now it's not a time to be anxious about there's too much democracy happening, because I do think like there's a
totally agree.
It's easy to understand, or easy for me to imagine a scenario where it's actually not bad to have Cornel West out there pulling the whole discourse to the left, as opposed to like DeSantis versus Trump talking about who can like, you know, haze trans kids more
or who can lock more people out from the border. There was a CBS story that just broke that Biden denied like 400,000 migrants a chance to get into the United States under TPS because he was worried.
Yeah, like, so I hope this also kind of helps clarify that, James, because again, they're not shitting on this idea.
Would encourage more migration. So like that's the person representing the left party in this country, the person running for the Democratic president,
Right.
you know, right? Like that's why we do need an expansion of the discourse. You just still have to be strategic once like the general comes around. That's my advice.
Yeah, I don't think I'm not one of these people who say you have to be naive about it and just let the amount of flavors of toothpaste. It's just good to have more. Like, you need to be a little bit cynical about why certain ones are placed there. The GOP in Minnesota puts money behind like pro pot guys who they sound nice, but they're trying to take out Ilhan.
And another candidate that's running right now, like, I mean, I think you can be cynical about why Bobby Kennedy is hanging out with Roger Stone.
That I agree, but we'll have more time to talk about that. In the meantime, though, I think the move, West move makes sense. You know, at least in terms of the logic of his candidacy.
Yeah, like there he is again, like reiterating that this makes more sense, and I agree. My issue is more than I think it's often easy to get swept up in motions from political party sways. I don't think progressive people should be pushing other progressives who hold some different views. They should embrace that diversity. I get the stakes are high, but what is victory if it's only just a postponed defeat? I don't think that I'm not even necessarily against that idea. I mean, should you question Cornel West? Should you question you know, some of the stuff that he's done? Yeah. But I'm not going to push somebody away if they're my ally. And sometimes postponing defeat, metaphorically, is a victory in and of itself. That is a goal. If your goal is to put a stopgap on, you know, the train, the fascistic train that's currently rolling, yeah, that's kind of a W, right? You kind of buy yourself time. Not pushing him away though. People are inviting him onto shows and correctly asking critical questions, and constructive criticizing his views were appropriate. And it seems like he's responding to some of it. Also, sometimes people need to get clowned on for goofy shit. Yeah.
And also, it reinforces the importance of actually having some semblance of a structure and an institution and an apparatus in which to run, and that logic makes sense regardless of what party you're talking about.
There you go. But don't take me for it. Why don't you guys just listen to his own words? As Buff Dragon posted earlier, just listen to his own words. You can see what he actually thinks and feels about certain situations by listening. The GOP does not have any shame. That's true. Clearly. U.S. House Republicans target deeper spending cuts and raising a shutdown threat. Republicans in the House of Representatives on Thursday adopted government spending targets for next fiscal year below the level agreed to by Speaker McCarthy and Democratic President Joe Biden, setting up a fight with the Democratic-led Senate that could risk a government shutdown. The House Appropriation Committee voted 33-27 along party lines to adopt a discretionary spending of $1.47 trillion for fiscal year 24, which starts on October 1st. It is about 120 billion below the 1.59 trillion set out in the debt ceiling negotiated by Biden and McCarthy. The targets would maintain defense spending at 866 billion, agreed in the debt ceiling legislation, but the plan would slash spending for environment, public assistance, and foreign aid. Like, honestly, fuck these people. Fuck these people. Two things can be true. He can have offered a lot of progressive thought and social moves. He can also have some suspect shit that we should side-eye. True. True. I don't want it to sound like I'm projecting an idea that people are beyond reproach. I just don't think it's good to see people saying some pretty nasty things about others, which crosses the line, particularly for people like West, who has only, as far as I'm aware, projected a message of compassion and respect. Yeah, I think mostly it's like, what are you doing, dude? Most of the most of the criticism is mostly like, hey, what are you doing? What are you doing with the People's Party? Like, that's pretty much most of the criticism. And hey, what's that weird tie between like you and being on the board of directors of this like weird CLT thing? I don't know. It just seems like you might have some conflict of interest here. Can we get some thoughts on that? You know, like things like that, which I think are fair game. And like, why are you on certain people's platforms? I think is also a fair critique. I'm happy to admit that reading West's work in the past definitely allowed me to help understand others who don't always align with myself. Someone called him an Uncle Tom in chat earlier, so yeah, it's pretty nasty. On Twitter, it was mostly, but on Twitter, it was more so what I was meaning. Gotcha. Yeah, like I wouldn't go that far. And I think the chatter recognized that. But I could also have concerns. Does that make sense? Demilitarize the police and repurpose the military to mitigate climate change. Yeah, but that's making too much sense. How long until they vote out McCarthy? I don't think they can. The targets would maintain defense spending at $866 billion level agreed in the debt ceiling legislation. But the plan would slash some spending for environment, public assistance, and foreign aid. It would also increase spending for border security, drug enforcement, and countering China. Democrats say the lower levels renege on the debt ceiling agreement. Republicans counter that deal with only capped spending. And the debt ceiling, not a floor for fiscal 2024 bills. The allocations before us reflect the change members on my side on the I want to see, said Appropriations Committee Chair Kay Granger. Yeah, he's in for the long haul. Congress will try to pass 12 appropriation bills before October, covering anything from law enforcement to scientific research. On Wednesday, the panel adopted a bill that would cut spending on agriculture and food, the FDA, by 30% from current levels. Republicans on the committee unveiled another bill for energy and water development that Democrats said cut spending on domestic programs like green energy incentives by 22%. Democrats also objected to policies that Republicans attached to spending bills, such as one that would prevent an abortion drug from being distributed through pharmacies. Just a little socialism to keep the kids busy. Yep. Lower spending levels could make it harder for the House to reach agreements with the Democratic-led Senate. Yep, so this is going to be another political football where they're going to try to gut services when they couldn't get it. When they couldn't get everything that they wanted in the debt ceiling deal, they're going to try to negotiate that here. Part of the condition that Freedom Caucus had for voting for McCarthy was that it only takes one member that can do a vote to remove him as speaker. Wow. Yeah, that's hilarious. One person can trigger the nuclear option, but whether or not they have the support to do so would be another question, right? They really do hate humanity, true. So we'll see how this battle ends up playing out. They're moving towards a shutdown. That's what they seem to want to guarantee, said Representative Rosa DeLauro, a top House Democratic appropriator. Republican Representative Steve Womack also expressed concern about a shutdown. I worry about what's going to happen October 1st. Yep. And like, again, you know, you could make just to kind of tie off this conversation, you could make the criticisms, you know, especially when you have like months ago making comments about like how we need to like, you know, come together with both sides. Like, well, no, no, it depends. Like right now, in this context, both sidesing is not exactly what you want to, what the kind of rhetoric you want to be putting out. It would only take 5 GOP votes to get him out. Goku with the 100 biddies, thank you. Right wing wackos want what they want and do not want to negotiate or care if they even have the votes. True. They want the drama. They're toddlers. Also true. There's no average between reason and ignorance. Yep. All right. Student loan payments to restart in October after 3-year COVID pass. It's coming, folks. It's coming. While the Supreme Court weighs whether to allow President Biden to cancel hundreds of millions of dollars in federal loan debt, the U.S. Department of Education has announced a broad timeline for when all borrowers should expect to start restart their payments after a three-year pause for COVID. People with federal student loan debt should expect interest to kick back in on September 1st and payments to start resuming in October, said a spokesperson for the Department of Education. That means that while interest will begin accumulating at September 1st, payments won't be due right away, instead ramping through the following weeks. Exactly when payments are due for borrowers could depend on how individual loan servicers handle that restart. The Department of Education is expected to issue more concrete timing guidance in the next few months, and a spokesperson said officials are committed to making sure students are well aware of their payment deadlines. Yeah, This is going to be a big problem, economically speaking. This is going to be a big problem. I paid mine off just before the pandemic. Sheesh. Anyone else think that Biden never actually gave a fuck about student loan debt and his moves just have been for clout? Maybe. Maybe. But I guess the reasoning doesn't really matter because we're still in a pretty F position. We're still in a pretty fucked up position. But no, this isn't legislation. Biden can't veto this. He could have used that same authority Trump did, but you chose to use a more easily challenged route. Still advocates for student debt relief say they're concerned by the lack of information released so far and would like to see more specific dates for when payments must begin again, including whether different servicers will be on different timelines. Spreading the word early and often will be important, particularly important for people who've moved addresses over the last few years or don't have reliable internet access, borrowers who could also be more at risk of defaulting on their loans. Said Isa Canchola Bañez, a senior advisor at the Student Borrower Protection Center. I think there's a lot of questions that we have. The Department of Education really needs to put out guidance so that their servicers on like a firm timeline, and what to expect so that borrowers can plan accordingly. If servicers have the chance to do whatever they want, that's going to be even more confusing for, say, let's say borrowers who have multiple services or married a couple with two different servicers. The Biden administration previously said the pause in student loan payments would lift after either the Supreme Court issued a ruling or on the current legal battle brought by the state of Mississippi, Missouri, and others, or about 2 months after June 30th. The latest dates in the Department of Education slightly revised that schedule. A lot of things in the Biden administration made me realize just how much they actually literally do not care about what they claim to. Unfortunately, yeah. 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 Mind you, the same people who ran on climate initiatives and whatnot have done about fuck all, but help the oil industry. The same people who ran on this idea of doing more for the working class, the president of the working class, moved to break up that rail strike. The same the same party that ran on this idea of alleviating student debt is now in the position of immensely Mr. Trains Mr. Trains union dude. Here we are. Again, the political committees, Bernie and AOC, would still be yelled at by MAGA. Well, yeah, I mean that's a whole separate other thing. The most pro-worker president. True. The most pro-worker president as he breaks up strikes. And what pro-worker legislation have we seen, really? I mean, like, can I get, like, a sound off on, like, what some really strong pro-worker legislation? No, it's not exactly there. Biden was going to lower the age for Medicare. Now they're threatening Social Security age. Yeah. Oh, yeah, sorry, asterisk. The most pro-worker president in the last 4 years. True. Yeah. Anyways. That's besides the point. This is really messed up. Yeah, we didn't read the fine print. True. Pay attention, folks, because this is going to be pretty bad. Because a lot of people who are all of a sudden expecting, who all of a sudden are going to need to start paying these student loans, aren't going to have the same amount of spending power, and this is going to have a lot of ramifications when it comes to the economy, because we're definitely not going to have that much spending power. So good luck. Good luck, everybody. I'm hoping for Biden's veto. But this isn't up to him, though. This isn't like a thing he can veto. Well, I don't know if you're talking about something else. I'm in a 2-student loan payment household. It's going to be super fun. Yikes. So we're going to run through this one briefly before we end the final story. Everyone should collectively just not pay their loans. I mean, like, here's a question. If all those, like, loan servicers were seriously, like, you know, in the, if all those loan servicers were seriously in threat of, like, losing business, they haven't received a dime in 3 years. And they seem to be just fine. Defund the loan servicing, true. everyone should just collectively not pay their loans. Yeah, the problem is like, unfortunately, the system that we live in, they will garnish your fucking wages. I think. I don't know. Can your wages be garnished? Hold on. Can wages be garnished for? Oh, yeah, they can. Yes, they can. Yes, okay, cool. So that just kind of validates that as well. You know, it's insane. Every state I've lived in gotten benefits has a specific 20-hour week work minimum to get SNAP just for students. Wow. Yikes. And it can affect all cosigners, which means parents, and no bankruptcy. Yeah, you can't get these off if you declare bankruptcy, right? Which also, incidentally, who made that a thing? Who made that a thing? Can anybody tell me who made that a thing? Just curious. Yeah, that's right. Oh man, we're doing fine. We're doing great, folks. Everything is fine. Work requires social welfare programs, yet there's supposed to be a functional level of employment for economic growth. It makes no sense. Capitalism has intrinsic contradictions. Work requirements or social welfare programs, yet there's supposed to be a functional level of unemployment for economic growth. Yeah. Okay, I understood that. Yeah, it's capitalism. Capitalism intrinsically has these contradictions. Oh, and by the way, you need this employment to live and have food and a roof over your head. So, hey, good luck, everybody. Yeah, death culprit. God, kitty. Okay. All right, so we're going to go over this. Miami GOP mayor has filed to run for president. Yeah. Trying to jump on my keyboard. That's what she's doing. Excuse you, cat. Yeah, he's a former mayor or mayor of Miami. She is a little troublemaker. Hold on, folks. Come on, kitty. Come on. Come here. Don't go back there. Come on, kitty. Come on. Elizabeth Warren is more liberal, but women in Massachusetts? No women presidents of the U.S.? Well, you have to use reverse psychology on the cats? Maybe. Just grab her. It's all good. So this clown is filing to run in the GOP. Dude has literally no shot. The dude has literally no shot. I need to find out if he's like super invested in like Trump or something. Because like him being into the race only benefits Trump. So I have to ask, is this dude just trying to elevate Trump? Yeah. Cause like nobody is like nobody knows outside of like Miami and maybe Florida, nobody knows who this guy really is. I think a lot of candidates are party shows or ops. I don't know. He could just be really, really narcissistic. Yeah, I guess. Maybe making a name for himself. Yep. Going for the Andrew Yang grift candidacy to boost his name. Yeah, maybe he's got a book to sell. I don't know. Yeah, like Suarez has argued that Democrats have been reckless in their branding, messaging with Hispanics. He argued that Republicans in general have a tremendous opening in part because Trump supported rolling back policies in the Obama administration have put in place for Cuba. Yeah. Suarez has a super PAC in place to help him. SOS America on Wednesday was spending at least $100,000 on digital ads in New Hampshire, Iowa, and Nevada. The super PAC also hit President Biden over law and order issues while not noting crime rates in Miami have dropped. America needs conservative mayor Suarez for president. As our nation faces anti-police and pro-crime Democrat leadership. True, dude. Nothing says anti-police than like Biden signing how many like money for the police? Didn't he sign like hundreds of thousands of dollars for police? Yeah, dude. Whatever. Reagan GPT. Nothing says anti-police like Kamala. True. We don't need a president who runs on Cuba. True. Suarez had thorny relations with both Trump and DeSantis. He did not support Trump in the 2020 bid and was critical of some of DeSantis' COVID pandemic policies. Asked whether that could alienate voters who have embraced Trump and DeSantis. Suarez said he wanted to respect voters' anger, but that he would seek to channel that into positive directions. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe he's just trying to aggrandize himself. Who knows? Anywho, yeah, this clown is going to jump into the mess. All right, folks, we have the final article. We'll leave off in a good note. Supreme Court preserves law that aims to keep Native American children with tribal families. Supreme Court on Thursday preserved the system that gives preference to Native American families in foster care and adoption proceedings of Native children, rejecting a broad attack from some Republican-led states and white families that argued it is based on race. The court left in place the 1978 Indian Child Welfare Act, which was enacted to address concerns that Native children were being separated from their families and too frequently placed in non-Native homes. Tribal leaders have backed the law as a means of preserving their families, traditions, and cultures, and warned that a broad ruling against the tribes would have undermined their ability to govern themselves. The issues are complicated, said Justice Amy Coney Barrett. Wrote for a 7-justice majority that included the court's 3 liberals and 4 of its 6 conservatives, but the bottom line is that we reject all petitioners' challenges to the statute. Justice Clarence Thomas and Alito dissented. Oh, boy. Each writing that Congress lacks the authority to interfere with foster care placement and adoptions, typically promised to the states. The decision Alito wrote deserves the rights and interests of these children. But how? Whatever, dude. That's probably because of courts. Yeah, this is surprising, especially with ACB writing this opinion. Yep. Sovereignty has its privilege. Yep. Why can't Suarez run for Congress first? Well, I don't want him running anything, to be quite frank. But if he's running for president, we got to cover it. Side note, a more perfect union video. It's FD Signifier talking about Leonard Leo is a good one. Not sure if you covered it already. No, but I may have to watch it at some point. They knew Gorsuch would cross over, so they didn't go there. Gotcha. And he thinks their interests would be served by best by taking away Native children, giving them to white people, most likely Christians. Yep. Salty Kami, how's it going? It is good? Gotcha. The leader of tribes involved in a case called the outcome a major victory for tribes and Native children. We hope this decision will lay to rest the political attacks aimed at diminishing tribal sovereignty and creating instability throughout Indian law that have persisted for too long, said a joint statement from the Cherokee Nation Principal Chief Chakoskin Jr. Morongo Band of Mission Indians Chairman Charles Martin, Oneida Nation Chairman Tehasi Hill, and Quinault Indian Nation President Guy Kapoeman. President Biden, whose administration defended the law at the High Court, noted that he supports the law 45 years ago when he's a Democratic senator from Delaware. Our nation's painful history looms over today's decision. In the not-so-distant past, Native children were stolen off the arms of people who loved them. Congress has passed the law in response to the alarming rate at which Native American and Alaskan Native children were taken from their homes by public and private agencies. The law requires the states to notify tribes and seek placement with the child's extended family, members of the child's tribe, or Native American families. 3 white families, the state of Texas, and a small number of other states claimed that the law is unconstitutional under Equal Protection Clause because it was based on race. They also contended that it puts the interests of tribes ahead of children and improperly allows the federal government too much power over adoptions and foster placements that are typical under state control. Yikes. No, that's kind of sus. No thanks. What's wrong with my bot? Why are you laughing at my bot? Leave my bot alone. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. The lead plaintiffs of the Supreme Court case, Chad and Jennifer Braken of Fort Worth, Texas, adopted Native American child after a prolonged legal fight with the Navajo Nation, one of the 2 largest Native American tribes in the Southwest. The Brakens are trying to adopt the boy's 5-year-old half-sister, known in court as papers as YRJ, who has lived with them since infancy. The Navajo Nation has opposed this adoption. You were going to buy some of that coffee? It's actually not that bad. I'll be honest. It's expensive, but it's not that bad. It's not the greatest either. I've had their coffee. I drink it. The last fall's argument, several conservative justices expressed a concern about at least one aspect of the law that gives preference to Native parents, even if they're a different tribe, and the child they're seeking to adopt or foster. Among them, Brett Kavanaugh, who's in the majority Thursday in favor of the tribes, but Kavanaugh injected a cautionary note in a separate opinion focused on the preference for Native foster and adoptive parents. In my view, to talk about a sponsor, it's not that bad. I mean, like, sometimes, when you get products, you're supposed to, like, really hype them up or whatever, but, like, honestly, it's freaking coffee, okay? Like, it's freaking coffee. I wouldn't put it, like, at the top of, like, the gourmet coffee, but it ain't bad. The news-breaking Trumper Congresswoman Lauren Boebert reveals that she's going broke, reporting that she has lost less than $15,000. What? She's going broke? What are you talking about? If I had less than $15,000 in the bank? She shares with her estranged husband, according to her new personal finance disclosure form, but it gets way worse. Government and ethics watchdogs mints that they are alarmed by the fact that Lauren Boebert failed to disclose any earnings from her memoir that she wrote and published. Oh. She's just cheating on taxes? Not surprising. She should probably sell her guns. Yeah, she could probably get a ton of money. The Supreme Court dealt with that issue by determining that neither Texas nor the parent had legal standing to make that argument in this case. The Brackens and others can make those arguments in state court proceedings. Matthew McGill presented the Brackens at the Supreme Court, said he would press a racial discrimination claim in the court. Yeah, whatever, dude. Before the Indian Child Welfare Act was enacted, 25 to 35% of Native American children were being taken from their homes and placed with adoptive families in foster care institutions. Most were placed by families or in boarding schools in an attempt to assimilate them. Yikes. Yeah, so I think this was a good decision. This was a W. This is a very clear W. You can take them from my cold dead hands. I mean, also you're broke, so politics is a rough game. Thank God, because those Texas Christians are after those kids. Yeah, 100%. All right, folks, we made it. We did it. Oh. All right, folks. I gotta get going. I don't know. More Perfect Union. Probably could find it on YouTube. Do I have a Discord? Yeah. Oh, Jesus. Here's the Leonardo thing. Okay.
There's no limit to what a man can do or where he can go if he doesn't mind who gets the credit. That quote is on a plaque behind the desk of this guy seen palling around with Clarence Thomas here.
You know, Leonard, since you're the number 3 most powerful person in the world.
Right. God help us.
And Donald Trump over here, and with Justice Samuel Alito at the Vatican. You know the important historical events he shaped.
The right-wing Supreme Court gutted Miranda rights this week
in a high-profile case involving religious liberty.
The Second Amendment, climate, and air pollution restrictions.
5 justices ended the right of American women to choose abortion under the Constitution.
You know all of his famous cronies who have benefited from their friendship with him, but you probably don't recognize his face. His name is Leonard Leo, and he lives the mantra from that quote behind his desk, which he probably got, by the way, from the Ronald Reagan Library gift store. By operating in the shadows and avoiding credit, Leonard Leo
watching it, the
has
video would
become
help.
quite
Oh shoot,
possibly
I'm here
the single
listening
most
to it.
powerful private citizen in America, despite the fact that nobody has ever voted for him in any election. We're going to shine a light on just who he is and what he believes. This is the Classroom for More Perfect Union, and today we're talking about how Leonard Leo broke America's courts. Leonard Leo was born in Long Island, raised Catholic. His father died when he was young, and he was brought up in his grandfather's house, an Italian immigrant who had come to the United States at age 14, worked as a tailor for Brooks Brothers, and moved up to become an executive. Leo idolized his grandfather. He has a lifelong passion for well-tailored suits and says his grandfather's story is emblematic of the American dream. Leo's family moved to New Jersey, and we don't know a whole lot else about Leo during his early years. What we do know is that in his high school yearbook, he was shown holding a big wad of cash with the bizarre nickname Moneybags Kid. Remember this, because Leo is going to show up in lots of places you wouldn't expect, like in ultra-religious Forrest Gump holding a ridiculously large amount of cash that he's probably going to do bad things with.
God help us.
Leo went to Cornell University, where he studied American history and wrote his senior thesis on the Exercise Clause, the part in the First Amendment that says the government can't interfere with religious practice. The summer after graduation, he took an internship in Washington, D.C., where he heard a speech given by Reagan's Attorney General Ed Meese to the Federalist Society, a new right-wing legal organization. In this speech, Meese complained that the Supreme Court was full of activist judges that had abandoned the original principles of the Constitution as the fathers intended, as in America as it was in 1791, you know. The good old days.
The Constitution is a
Oof. Omega yikes on that one.
document of fixed and legally binding meaning.
This approach was called originalism, and it was a burgeoning field of study in constitutional law. Leo was impressed. He was more than impressed. He was inspired. He returned to Cornell for law school and started a student chapter of the Federalist Society. Their chapter hosted a regional conference where Leo would meet future Supreme Court Justice Brett Kavanaugh. Future Supreme Court Justice is going to become a running theme in this video. The Federalist Society had just one win and one loss. One of their own, Antonin Scalia, had been sworn in by Reagan, but Robert Bork, another early member, had been rejected.
Mr. Byrd?
No.
Mr. Metzenbaum?
No.
Bork was an extremely controversial choice. The ACLU, NAACP, and Democrats in the Senate all spoke out against his nomination.
Robert Bork's America is a land in which women would be forced into back alley abortions, blacks would sit at segregated lunch counters, rogue police could break down citizens' doors in midnight raids, and school children could not be taught about evolution.
Republicans claimed Kennedy's words were hyperbolic, that they were character assassination. But were they? When Bork and me...
Yikes. Fuck Ted, also Ted was right. Yep. There was a living liberal constitution group in law schools, but they were small. Jeez.
and Scalia talk about activist court, what they're really talking about are the changes that were made under Supreme Court Justice Earl Warren from 1953 to 1969. The Warren Court passed unprecedented cases. Brown versus Board of Education, was desegregated America's schools. Loving versus Virginia, which allowed Clarence Thomas to marry his wife. In Griswold v. Connecticut, that allowed married couples to use contraceptives and paved the way for Roe v. Wade. They're also talking about the New Deal order, when the courts expanded the role of federal governments in regulating corporations and creating rights for workers. And yeah, I think those things would have been pretty hard to get by in 1791. You know, the good old days.
Yeah.
Leo graduated and moved to DC, where he went to work at the Court of Appeals. The Federalist Society was trying to grow their lawyer division. They had student chapters at nearly 150 universities, but their network off campus was languishing. Leo was brought on to cultivate talent among practicing attorneys and potential donors. That same year, Leo got an opportunity to expand his influence, and one of his close friends became a top pick to replace Civil Rights era Judge Thurgood Marshall.
I'd like to thank so many of my friends, and especially my good friend Leonard Leo, for such a warm welcome.
Clarence probably thinks he'd be okay in the good old days. Leo took time off from the supposedly nonpartisan Federalist Society to help secure his friend's nomination, which turned into one of the longest confirmation hearings in history after Anita Hill came forward with sexual harassment allegations against Thomas. Just after Thomas took his seat, the Supreme Court argued a case called Planned Parenthood versus Casey. Casey originated in Pennsylvania, where 5 abortion clinics challenged a law that required anyone seeking an abortion to wait 24 hours before getting the procedure. The law also required married women who wanted abortions to get permission from their husbands. Wow. With 5 Reagan and Bush Sr. appointments on the court, Leo and his colleagues believed they might finally be able to rule that Roe v. Wade was unconstitutional. But 3 conservative justices surprised the right and chose to stay with precedent. Only Scalia and Thomas, the Federalist Society loyalists, and Nixon appointee William Rehnquist dissented. Leo was pissed, royally pissed. But secretly, Bush Sr. and even some prominent Federalist Society members were happy. The pro-life religious right was a big part of the Republican base, but actually overturning Roe v. Wade was a risky gambit. Many Americans didn't want abortion.
Yeah, and it's, oh man, I don't know if arguably like they chose a better time, but yeah. If you didn't know, Chad, Leo was recently reported on as a dude who told Kellyanne Conway to handle that $25K payment to Giddy Thomas, but not to mention her name. Uh-oh. Anita was right. Thanks, Brandon. Yeah, another thing we can thank Dark Brandon for. Joe Brandon.
Taken away, and besides that, an election was coming up. Bill Clinton hit the campaign trail celebrating a woman's right to choose.
George Bush won't guarantee a woman's right to choose, I will.
And beat Bush Sr. with 32 states. During the Clinton years, the Federalist Society grew substantially. By the end of his presidency, they had 25,000 members, up from 5,000 in 1991. And most of its members weren't students now. They were practicing attorneys and part of Leo's lawyer division. And Moneybags Kid knew how to tap wealthy members for fundraising. By 2001, the Federalist Society had $3.5 million in revenue. The Federalist Society's Kenneth Starr and his team of FedSoc lackeys spent much of the Clinton years lobbying investigations at the president and seeing if any of them would stick. They couldn't get Clinton out of office, but they were ready when there was a chance to get a new Republican president in. It was November 2000, and it looked like Al Gore was about to take the presidency.
And the Bush campaign is now contesting the projected victory for Al Gore.
He had won the popular vote and seemed to have taken Florida by a few hundred votes. But as more ballots rolled in, Bush was taking the lead.
Bush is the president-elect of the United States. He has won the state of Florida, according to our projections.
Recount. They are saying recount.
On his legal team were several Federalist Society lawyers who were working to stop the recount in favor of Bush.
I'm thankful for America and thankful that we were able to resolve our electoral differences in a peaceful way.
The next election cycle, George W. Bush was running against John Kerry, the first Catholic nominee since JFK. Remember that Bush hadn't won the popular vote, and it's pretty questionable whether he actually won the presidency at all. To win this time, he'd need Catholics. Leo was brought on to do just that. White evangelical Christians were Bush's base, and Bush had pledged to be a pro-life president.
The United States of America is building a culture of life.
But pro-life Catholics didn't always vote Republican. Leo hired the right-wing PR firm Creative Response Concepts to media-train Federalist Society members to stump for Bush and talk up the importance of the courts. Bush's re-election, which this time did give him the popular vote, came down to his coalition of the faithful.
I'm proud to lead such an amazing country, and I'm proud to lead it forward.
With Bush in office, Leo became one of the four horsemen, the official advisors for Bush's judicial nominees.
Jeez. Kenneth Starr and Kavanaugh as his assistant leaked the investigation of Clinton to the press, and Kavanaugh chose to use a sexually explicit line of questioning that got Clinton to lie. Gotcha. Kenneth Starr was Epstein's lead lawyer when he got off in Florida. Oof, really? Damn.
Leo's first pick was John Roberts, a devout Catholic who opposed abortion and had fought to roll back voting rights and school desegregation orders. Roberts' views were extreme, but he and other conservative nominees had learned something from the failed Bork confirmation. Bork had said the quiet part out loud, and Roberts knew that he needed to keep his radical views to himself.
Mr. Chairman, I come before the committee with no agenda. I have no platform. And I will remember that it's my job to call balls and strikes and not to pitch or bat.
Judge Roberts did a fine job today. He answered the questions presented to him as faithfully and objectively as he could without prejudging any issues.
A surprising number of Democrats bought the Roberts as umpire shtick, and he was confirmed with 78 votes in favor. Leo's next nominee was Samuel Alito. Now, Alito was going to have a harder time getting nominated. The ACLU came out against his nomination, something they hadn't done since Bork. In the end, Alito was confirmed by a tight vote of 58 to 42. Leo returned to the nonpartisan Federalist Society for a sizable raise. He was promoted from director of the Lawyers Division to executive vice president.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It is a pleasure to stand before 1,500 of the most little-known and elusive of that secret society or conspiracy we call the Federalist Society.
During the Obama years, Leo shifted his focus to fundraising for conservative causes, including the Tea Party group Liberty Central, headed by Clarence Thomas's wife, Jenny Thomas.
America's at risk, and I didn't know how far left President Obama and the leadership was going to take us.
Oh, yeah, dude. Far left President Obama. Funny how Democrats just give the GOP what they want and call it bipartisan compromise. True. It's exactly what happens. Obama, famous far leftist.
Washington is sick.
It became much easier for Leo to do his job after the movement scored another major victory. In 2010, with 4 Federalist Society associated judges on board, the court decided to hear a case brought before them by right-wing anti-abortion lawyer James Bach, a case about limits on political donations.
Hey, 2023, more like 1984. Thank you for the tier 1 sub. Thank you. I mean, Janine's mad about Biden Brandon. So funny. Yeah, I mean, the fact that she's saying that, like, Obama moved this country to so far left is just ridiculous and ludicrous and obviously not true.
The average voter could care less who's, quote, funding a politician or
Really?
Of course.
The Federalist Society, lovers of the good old days themselves, had wanted to get rid of campaign finance limits on corporations and political nonprofits for years. Here's Mitch McConnell talking at the Federalist Society in 1999.
Now remember, the $1,000 contribution limit was set back in 1974 at a time when a Mustang cost $2,700.
The case was called Citizens United, and it was decided with all 4 of the Federalist judges and the saving vote Kennedy in favor. After this ruling, there was an explosion of political nonprofits and PACs that didn't have to disclose their donors. With these dark money contributors, Leo and other donors were able to create a network of dozens of organizations.
This is wild. Wild. Mark Garland's Federalist Society was suggested by Mitch McConnell to Obama as a compromise. And then still torpedoed it anyways.
To back conservative causes. You probably know the rest. In 2016, Antonin Scalia died while Obama was still in office, but the Republican-held Senate wouldn't let a nominee through.
Mr. President, the next justice could fundamentally alter the direction of the Supreme Court. So, of course, the American people should have a say in the court's direction.
When it was clear that Trump would be the Republican contender for president, Leo was ready with a list of names.
I came up with a list. The Federalist Society was very much involved.
Leo's nonprofit organizations distributed ads and were quoted over and over in newspapers. First, to block Merrick Garland, and then to endorse Neil Gorsuch. The Washington Post reported that 9 of the organizations hired the same conservative PR firm, Leo's ally from the Bush years, Creative Response Concepts.
President Trump wanted to talk to us about how important he views this election he's going to have to make in the coming months.
When Justice Kennedy retired, Leo launched the Freedom Opportunity Fund and gave $4 million to a group called the Independent Women's Voice, who went on Fox News and endorsed Brett Kavanaugh. In this segment, 3 speakers are all tied to Leo.
Hasn't he been investigated by the FBI?
The reality is these folks outmaneuvered us in ways that we are now only starting to realize.
And what's horrible is that
in court,
it's fucking checkmate. Like, when you do shit like that, it's done. The decisions that were passed, like the Roe v. Wade thing, for example, it's done. It's done. Played us like a fiddle. Yep. Because Dems are not a defense, they're enablers. Yeah, they're pretty disabled, pretty like disabled as far as like an opposition, disarmed. It's difficult to outmaneuver back when they had 9 times the resources. True. The Dems just letting it go without a fight. Yeah, they're completely disarmed. They're not there to fight. Worthless. Sure, I can apply that label.
Society now held a 5-4 majority, and Amy Coney Barrett made it 6-3. If we zoom out, we can see that these judges have been in the history of Leo's conservative movement.
Now Leo has $1.6 billion to spend on elections. Yep.
Federalist Society member Ken Starr tried to impeach Bill Clinton. A young Kavanaugh was also on his team. And what about that famous Supreme Court case that stopped the Florida recount and gave George W. Bush the presidency? It was won with help from Roberts, Kavanaugh, and Barrett.
I don't think the justices care that it's Bush versus Gore, or if it were Gore versus Bush. What they care about is how to interpret the Constitution. What are the enduring values that are going to stand a generation from now?
Of the villains we've covered, this is one where the phrase vast right-wing conspiracy seems unavoidable. The ultra-conservative bloc in the Supreme Court could be in power until 2065, unless Congress packs the courts or institutes term limits. Leo has been working in the shadows.
That's wild. Like, think about that, chat. That's decades. That's decades. I'll second that bet.
To shape the courts using millions and now billions of dark money. And Americans have little ability to resist his influence. He may only now be getting the credit he deserves, but there has to be a limit on one man's power.
I'm about the same age. Bob. The only senator who acknowledges this and enters it into congressional record is Senator Whitehouse. Wow.
Thanks for watching The Classroom for more Perfect Union. Research for this piece came from Mary Ziegler's Dollars for Life, the Anti-Abortion Movement and the Fall of the Republican Establishment, and Stephen Tellis's The Rise of the Conservative Legal Movement. Is there a political operative so effective and far-reaching that you're losing sleep over it? Well, comment below, and as always, like and subscribe for more videos like this one.
Yeah, this is wild. Wild. Jeez. And like you wonder why these Supreme Court justices are scoffing at the idea that calls for ethics are being made. And you wonder why these Supreme Court justices are scoffing at the idea that the American people are finding are finding them illegitimate. I'm glad More Perfect Union has been making videos under an hour. No, this was a good this was a good video. This was a good video. My daughter will be 20. Maybe her granddaughters will have control of their bodies again. Well, it's up to us to help continue to make that a thing. Jeez. All right, folks. This is the Issues History Fundraising Societies. Colleges work from political parties and allegiances the most ethical and honest, and will power corrupt them. Well, I mean, yeah. Thanks for the stream, buddy. Good to see you. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Thank you, guys. I gotta get going. Thank you for the support. I appreciate it. I appreciate the subs, the biddies. Thank you for the follows. Thank you, Touring News, for the raid. Thank you guys so much. Good stream, good chat. Thank you. I appreciate it. Globus, thank you for hanging out. Sharpie Diesel, Alio, Agave Poet, SV Harkin, Salty Kami, James Napper, Princess Chi-Chi, Buff Commander. Did I get everybody? BCZ, SV Harkin, 2023. I think I got everybody. There's just so many wonderful folks in here. Have a great day. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. You guys are what makes this channel grow. If you guys enjoy, yes, hydrate. I will do that. Right now. If you guys enjoy the content, don't forget to hit the follow button. It really does help us out. Or if you guys want to go above and beyond and cannot support the stream monetarily, you can also subscribe to the YouTube channel. It really does help us out. And bring a friend, always. Spread the word. Bob Commander with 24 biddies. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Spread the word far and wide. We're here Monday through Thursday, 5 p.m. Eastern Time. As always, folks, please stay safe. Please take care of each other. I'll be on. I hope to see you guys in the next one. You missed a dab, I think? Oh, I'll dab right now. We'll dab out. How about that? Boom. See you. Thank you for keeping the peace. Thank you, Michael Hassler. Thank you, Heat, for keeping the peace. I appreciate it. Thank you for reminding me. All right, folks, hang tight. We're heading out in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. See ya. Nice to see it all in one video. It was a good video. See ya.